Welcome to the Plant Trainers Podcast, where we're helping people improve their quality of life through nutrition and fitness. And now, your hosts, nutrition and wellness coaches, international speakers, Adam and Shoshana Chaim.
Hey, I'm Adam Chaim.
And I'm Shoshana Chaim, and we are
Propelled by Plants. Today we bring to you episode 276, Home Remedies for this Flu Season with Julie Ward.
In this episode of the Plant Trainers Podcast, we talked to Julie Ward about how to be winning this cold and flu season. Let's face it, there's two kinds of sick days from work. The ones where you're flat on your face and the ones where you pretend to be sick just to get the day off. Wouldn't it be great if you only needed to worry about the latter? We're not suggesting you lie to work, but these cold and flu season toolbox ideas are sure to help you skip the red nose, running eyes, and phlegmy cough this season. And if you do get a cold and it does sneak up on you, don't worry. Julie shares plenty of plant-based and vegan remedies. In fact, I was sipping on one as I wrote this introduction. So share away, because no one wants to use their sick days for really being sick. And be sure to tag us on Instagram at Plant Trainers when you do play hooky.
Julie helps others transition to health using a new approach to food and habit hacks that help her clients overcome obstacles. As the founder of Fresh Food Alchemy, Julie's presentations focus on how foods can boost energy, joy, and focus. After overcoming her own depression, mood, and digestive issues using plant-based wisdom, she brings 25 years of first-hand experience to the table, helping health educators and clients understand that optimal health is possible and healthy food can taste great. Julie is a plant-based certified ACE health coach with a certificate in plant-based nutrition. She loves creating new ways to make healthy, tasty, fun, and healing.
I know exactly what you're thinking. What do I make for dinner? How am I going to get it done? How could I possibly stay so organized that I won't have to run to the grocery store midweek? How do I know what you're thinking? Because I'm always getting emails, PMs, DMs, and I even get stopped in the grocery store to be asked the same thing. So this is what I want. I want you to be the master of meal planning. Just click on the link in the show notes or go to planttrainers.com/shop and I'll walk you through how to plan, shop, and prep for a full week's worth of food so you don't have to get the takeout that makes you feel bad and bloated, so you don't have to stay up till 10 o'clock at night making a perfect meal, because let's face it, that's not going to help your health either. You need to be exercising, talking to loved ones, binging on Netflix. You can choose how to spend your extra time, but you don't need to spend that extra time running to the grocery store in the middle of the week, in the kitchen, or wondering what to make. Go to planttrainers.com/shop, click on the Meal Planning Mastery link, and for $27, become a rock star.
And now for a moment of gratitude.
I think I've mentioned this before, but I used to have some really bad cystic acne, and I went through various steps of getting rid of that acne, and then took even more steps to really heal myself and make sure that it never does come back again. And one of those steps was using Dr. Bronner's castile soap. And I reached out to the company a while ago, and I told them how grateful I was to them for having that soap available, soaps that are fair trade, USDA organic, vegan, and all of those different things that really was part of what my face and body really needed. And I asked them if they wanted to be a sponsor of the podcast. And although sponsorship of podcast is not part of their overall, I don't know, what they do in terms of their promotion and marketing, they did want to send us a box of some soaps and some creams. And I'm just really grateful that they sent that out. They have an organic sugar soap, which really makes your skin really, really soft. And the lavender cream is beautiful smelling as well. So I just wanted to give a shout out to them and say how grateful I am for how they helped me in the first place, but then also for sending out this little package. And, you know, I'm putting it out there for you guys, although we're not getting paid by them to do so.
Yeah, and I'm grateful for that too, because I love when we get packages from companies and we get to open them up and share it with our listeners or the people watching us on Instagram stories. And I like their lavender cream. It's nice and smells nice, and it's nice for dry skin. But I'm just grateful for all the companies out there that do like to send their products to us. Keep doing it. Thank you.
And by the way, when we do mention these products on our Instagram or on our Instagram stories, Facebook, or here on the podcast, that's only a fraction of what we actually sent. We only really do talk about the ones that we do enjoy and that we would either consider or already do use in our house. They need to be CHAIM and Plant Trainers approved. Julie Ward, thank you so much for joining us on the Plant Trainers podcast today.
Thank you for having me. I'm so happy to be here.
We want to know if you have a moment of gratitude that you don't mind sharing with us and our listeners before we begin today.
Yeah, I think about that a lot, and I do my best to be grateful for the small things and just everything that happens every day. Like today, I just woke up happy, and I was like, oh my God, I'm so happy. Mainly, I'm really happy that my mindset's always in the right space, that I notice it and I pay attention to it. And if I start to veer off into, monkey mind or little negative nonsense, I veer back and I'm just like, it feels so good. And I'm so grateful that I can switch my thoughts and switch what I think about and just be really clear and focused and be able to put myself at a state of peace. I mean, I'm really grateful to be able to do that.
It's quite a talent to be able to just switch your thought process or your mind just like that. And many people struggle with that, I'm sure.
Well, at first you said that it's always in the right place. And I was like, always in the right place? But then you cleared that up by saying it's not, but then you get it there. You do the work to get it there.
And that's the thing. It's like the beauty of it for me is this is a journey and it's a constant work in process. I don't think as a human, I don't think I'll ever be 100% there, but it's really nice to now be able to notice and go, oh, I'm having that thought. Oh, that's taking me down that space. Oh, I'm feeling like this. Oh, what is that? Oh. Well, let me stop. Let me think about this. Let me do this. Let me build up another level of momentum in the positive side. And then I do feel better, and it's interesting how it works. And it's like, oh, this really does kind of work.
Were you always like that, or did that start to take place at the same time that your whole healing journey began as well?
I think I've not always been like that. No, I mean, as a kid, I suffered from depression and was really kind of moody and very difficult to kind of get along with people, from my perspective. And as I really started to deal with wanting to feel better and eat better and switching my diet, I began to feel a little bit better, but then I began to notice, and it was I had an epiphany one day because I came home and I was like, I had a perfect day. I mean, there was nothing, every now and then you just have a perfect day, and there was nothing that was wrong, and I sat down and I made dinner, and all of a sudden I started feeling bad. And I was like, wait a second, I had a great day. Why would I feel bad right now? And then I began to go, what was I thinking? And as I began to backtrack my thoughts, I don't even remember what the thought was right now, but what I do remember is going, oh, wow, that's not true. That's not true. That's not who I am right now. That's not who I am. And the minute I did that and said that to myself, I immediately started to feel better. And then I was like shocked. I was like, oh my God, there is this kind of, as they say, the tape that runs when you're 0 to 7, that kind of thing that continually runs in your brain. And you don't always pay attention to it because you don't always know that. But when you start to be a little conscious and go, wow, how am I feeling? What thought did I have? And then I was able to kind of backtrack. So that's when it happened. Now, at that point, that was the epiphany. Did I start doing it right away? No. But as I've gotten older, it's like, I want to feel good all the time. And if I can do that, why not?
For some reason, a lot of people default to the negative, and we really shouldn't be doing that to ourselves. It's okay to feel good, and we don't have to feel guilty about feeling good. And when you think back on your day of having a great day and you start to think, well, that shouldn't be right, well, maybe that should be the default, and our days should be good, and we should never feel guilty about feeling good. And I think more people need to think of things that way and understand that you, the listener, you deserve to feel good all the time.
Oh yeah, we do. And I agree with you. It's easier than we think if you want to do it. Let's put it like that. I mean, there's work in everything. There's hard work, there's work. And I don't even want to say it's hard. You just have to be committed, to just making the switch. But yeah, I agree. There's nothing, we are human and we live in a human body. So things happen, but the biggest part of that is forgiving yourself and forgiving those around you and wanting to be someone different and do better. And if you come from that space of really wanting to do better, you can, and you can feel better.
And for a lot of us, we can have that epiphany and we could start to make that change. And not to say that that's not hard, but for a lot of other people, it's definitely a grind. It's definitely a lot of work. It's ups and downs. It's 2 steps forward, a couple of steps backwards. It's good days, bad days. I know with a lot of the clients that I work with, and it's funny because, you know, with all the nutrition counseling that I do lately, mental health has really come into it and mindset has really come into it a lot. I guess because of the way that I speak about my PTSD all the time, I'm attracting people who have similar stories. And, you know, just asking people, you know, when they say like, that's just not for me. And I'm like, well, what proof do you have? What proof do you have that success isn't for you? What proof do you have that planning meals in advance isn't for you or isn't going to work? And, you know, it plays a really good number on the subconscious. And within a couple of weeks, they're getting it. They're making progress.
Yeah. I think you get to the point where it hurts more to do nothing than it does to make the change. You know, you have to get to the point where you want it more than you want your present state. And then find somebody that can really help you. I mean, yeah, you're right. It's the epiphany doesn't always come. And like I said, when I had the epiphany, it wasn't immediate. I had moments still, and I had, you know, what I call emotional tantrums and things that didn't work out. And I would go through these things and moods. And then you finally just get to the point where it's like, this isn't serving me anymore. I really desire a different life. I really want to think about things differently. What's happening outside of me is not me.
I see that for sure. So what I want to do now is like, although it's kind of overlapping, I want to take a little step back from the mental side and I want to go more into the physical side, because today we're going to be talking about cold and flu and medicine cabinets that don't contain real medicine, as, you know, or traditional medicine or maybe more traditional medicine than contemporary medicine. But there is a really deep connection between our mindset and how stressed we are and how we're dealing with all that and how our body is working and our immune system is working. So we'll come back to that soon. Let's discuss now, you know, we can get into that. What are some of the major causes of cold and flu that you see right now?
So I think, like you said, stress is number one. We run our bodies down. I mean, we're a culture of work all the time. Whether you're running your own business, whether you're working for somebody else, whether you are seriously working for somebody else and you're an executive who's always on call, it's always about work. And if your work is stressful, that can stress your body out. That's one. And oftentimes within that same cycle, you don't get enough sleep. So sleep is huge. My grandmother used to always say sleep is a bodybuilder, because that's when your body rebuilds itself. That's when your body takes the time and does what it's supposed to do to get you ready for another day. And if you don't get the amount of sleep you need, you're going to be run down. And when you get run down, your immune system gets run down. And then you get a chill, right? And the chill could come in the back of your neck. It could come in your throat. It could come through your chest. Or you hug somebody that's sneezing, or you catch something in the office. But between stress and your immune system being run down because you're not sleeping, to me, those are the major ones. I mean, for me, if I'm constantly in motion, I can feel it. You can feel when your body's like, I need to rest. I just need to rest. And oftentimes that's when you get sick. And that's what your body's doing. It's like, look, I told you I needed to rest. You didn't give me time to rest. I need to lay you out now, because now we've got it. Now you're sick, right? And you can't do these other things. You have to sit down and get well and tend to your body. We just think we can go and go and go and go all the time. You can't.
No, you need to take time, you know, whether you call it self-care or regrouping or, you know, catching up on sleep, whatever it is, that needs to get done, or you will get worn down and you are more susceptible to pick up everything else out there. I just want to put on the record right now, you, me, Adam, the three of us together, that you don't get sick by going outside without a jacket, like our mothers used to tell us, right? You don't catch your cold from the cold. And that chill that you were talking about isn't weather related. It's actual chill within the body.
Oh, yeah. It's an internal chill. Yeah. It's like, oh, now for me, if I go out and it is cold and I'm run down, I can come back with a chill that I can't shake. I've done that before. But then I take something and that chill goes away and I put on something heavier and I warm myself up and I'm fine. So I think everyone's body is different, but there is a real chill, but you're correct. And in regards to, it's not, you don't just go outside and go, it's breezy and I'm cold and now I'm sick. No. But you know what I think is really amazing? Kids never get cold. Have you ever noticed that? They can go outside without a jacket and it can be cold. They're like, no, I'm fine.
Well, that's because you live in California.
Oh. That could be.
No. But they are a lot warmer. We used to go.
No, she's right. I mean, our kids walk outside. They say they don't need jackets. It's not cold. They're warm. You're right.
When we get in the cold car, they're like, "Oh, it's freezing in here." But I used to take my son to soccer, and I would be dressed in sweatpants and a sweatshirt with a hoodie, and I'd have my hands in my pockets for my hoodie and running shoes on, and my daughter would be in a sundress, and the moms would look at me and say, "How do you leave the house with your daughter dressed like that when you're dressed like that?" I'm like, look, she's not complaining. She's happy. She'd be complaining if she were wearing any more clothes. And sometimes you got to choose your battles.
Yes, totally. Totally.
Or that'll run me down.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So what do you suggest as some good ways to keep your immune system up as cold season approaches? Okay,
so I make an immune boosting veggie broth. So it's like a standard veggie broth, and it's got a bunch of parsley, a bunch of cilantro. I put dandelion in it. I put onion. I put garlic, like ton of garlic, black pepper, cloves. And then I add seaweed. So I'll add kelp or wakame or dulse. And then I'll put in astragalus, which is, one of the herbs we can also talk about. That is a great immune booster prior to getting sick. So it's not something you want to take if you are sick, but it should keep you from getting sick. And I put and it comes in strips, and I put 2 strips in that, and I boil all that till it's, all the juice and everything's gone and it's soft. And that is a great immune booster. And I have my clients make this. And the thing, it's one of the weirdest things in the world, because what happens is it boosts. I cook with it. I make soups. You can drink it as a tea. But every client that I've given it to, I was like, whatever you do, don't drink it after 7 o'clock. You will get an instant rush of wide awake. It goes straight to your bones. However it gets in there, and it just gets your body moving. So it totally boosts your immune system. It totally gives you energy. And so that's one of the things that I do. Now, if I do, get a little sniffles, like one of my clients got sick, and I was like, what are you doing sick? And she's like, well, da-da-da-da-da. I was like, all right. I was like, look, you want to break it up quick? Go in the kitchen, put lemon, garlic, and ginger in a pot with some water, and just simmer it all day. The more you drink, just continue to add more water. And just drink that as tea and add honey. And she was like, the next day, she's like, oh my God, I feel so much better. The cough I had has kind of gone down. I was like, continue to do that. It'll go away. So I always do the garlic, lemon, ginger tea. But one of the other things I do also is it's called garlic honey. You take a small mason jar, the little tiny 4-ounce jar, and I probably have done it with an entire bulb of garlic, and fill it fill it with honey. And when you do that, and then what you do is, if you feel like you're getting sick, just grab one of those cloves out of there and eat that, and it works like a charm.
So for our plant-based community, there are a lot of people who are still eating honey, but then there's a lot of vegan listeners. Is there something that you recommend to replace that, or is that just coming from the medicinal part of the honey altogether?
That's coming from the medicinal part of the honey. That would be the garlic honey, and that would be, now for the tea, you don't have to put honey in it. You would just sweeten it with whatever you like to kind of cut maybe the hotness of the ginger or reduce the ginger in the tea. So you don't have to use honey for that one. But for the garlic honey, that is a particular garlic and honey piece together concoction. The other thing is elderberry. Elderberry is great. You can make elderberry. You can buy dried elderberries already in your nearest health food store, or there's a great online herb store called Mountain Rose Herbs, and you can buy elderberry from them and just make your own elderberry syrup. And oh my gosh, that's just like the best thing, like elderberry cough syrup. Or if it gets chilly and you're getting run down, and that's like 1 cup of black elderberries dried, 3 cups of water. I normally put like a cinnamon stick in there and another piece of ginger. And then you can season it. For those of you that use honey, you can use honey to taste. If you want to do a maple syrup, probably something like that. Or you could even boost it up with a little bit of iron and maybe use a blackstrap molasses for that. And that's always really great to just take it. So I would take that as a tablespoon. Sometimes I would make a tea, like take a couple tablespoons and a little bit of hot water and sit and drink that in the evening. And I was just like, oh, wow, I just feel so much better. It's like this cleansing wave that comes over you.
We're taking a break from the Plant Trainers podcast to bring you this very important message. Stress is an everyday reality in our bodies. Whether it comes from physical injury, exercise, airborne toxins, UV radiation, or just the aging process, or maybe you're at work and that's stressful enough for you, the effects of stress show up in your joints, in your muscles, and in your skin, and even in your individual cells. LifeMax counters the effects of physical stress, natural aging, and cellular damage using 16 extracts that support 9 crucial areas of wellness to help you get the maximum meaningful mileage from life.
Via LifeMax supports a healthy, active lifestyle. It promotes longevity, supports cardiovascular health, regulates healthy cell division, promotes a healthy inflammatory response, really supports our immune system, and helps maintain healthy cognitive function. It helps balance our mood, supports antioxidant activity, supports our eye health, fights the outward signs of aging, provides a nutritional foundation for vital functions of the body. It does so many things. So whether you suffer from chronic inflammation, you're having surgery, or are under stress on a regular basis, you probably want to give Via LifeMax a try. We have a link to information about Via LifeMax and its amazing qualities in the show notes and at planttrainers.com/shop. Check it out there and click on the link to book a call with Shoshana so she can make sure that it's the right product for you and help you get your hands on it. And now, back to the show. So garlic, lemon, and ginger seem to be the base of many of these remedies. We use it as the base for our natural anti-inflammatory shot, which people could find at planttrainers.com/shot. And we also add some turmeric in there and some other great ingredients. I wonder what it is about the garlic specifically, because you're really mentioning garlic a lot, that is so good for the immune system.
Well, garlic is an antimicrobial, it's an antifungal, it's also an antiviral. It's great for killing all infections. So that's been proven, so it's been studied. But only issue I have with garlic is for people that are on blood thinners. So it's kind of something you got to watch, because it's also a natural blood thinner. But it is great in terms of for infections, totally.
Is there ever a time where garlic is not good enough anymore to be used for that? I know sometimes there's that little stick that starts to grow up from inside of it, a shoot or something like that. So you might cut the garlic open and see a little yellow shoot. Do you need to take out the shoot, or green? Do you need to take that out? Does that have any cause of nausea or anything like that?
As far as I know, no. But what I do is that you just use the cloves. I don't use any of the other bits. So you're taking everything out. Now, I would look at my garlic. If it looks kind of yellowy, if it looks like it's starting to dry out, it's just older. Mm-hmm. I like it to be as close to like an ivory kind of white color as possible.
As fresh as possible.
Yeah, totally as fresh as possible. The other thing I do is I make a salad. It's an antioxidant salad, and it's got all the antioxidant greens in it. So it's got arugula, basil, oregano, sage, thyme, dandelion, and then you sprinkle a little bit of lemon juice on there, put some olives. That also you'll feel immediately better, especially with the oregano. Like fresh oregano, that'll knock anything out.
So I find when people start to feel run down and start to feel like they're getting cold, or getting a cold, I should say, they immediately go to the pantry and start to look for all the things that are not going to serve their body. You know, somehow we need those comfort foods. And I'm not talking about like a nice broth soup. I'm talking about, like the cookies and the pretzels and all those things. And although that's what we begin to crave, that's actually not what our body needs. And a lot of times we can absolutely, knock that cold or flu right out just by eating foods that serve our body. It might take a little bit more, going back to that mindset, it might take a little bit more of that mindset to bring you there. But those are the foods that you actually want to be eating. So it's challenging.
It's very challenging. And, sometimes people don't always like to think about, the bugs in their body, right? Your microbiome and your digestive system and your bacteria being out of balance. But when that's out of balance, that's when you crave things. It's not really it's not your mind going, oh, wow, I just want some sugar. Because oftentimes when you go look at the cabinet, it's like, oh my God, I got to get a cookie. I got it. I mean, you're like driven to find something sweet, right? And that's not really you talking. That's your kind of bacteria being out of balance. And it wants more food. It wants more of the sugary stuff, which is going to continue to keep it out of balance, which is going to continue to keep you sick. So yeah, I think when you talk about mindset and you talk about being sick, people just have to go, okay, I'm not feeling well. Let me take a minute. Let me get some tea in me. Let me get some sleep. I mean, if you do nothing, but you set yourself up for like 8 hours of good sleep at the first sign of getting sick, you'll feel so much better.
So I don't think most people would be thinking this way. I think most people, when they get sick or feel a cold or flu coming on, or they have a pain or an ache, the first thing they do is go for that cold and flu medication.
Yes.
They don't think, yeah, they go Tylenol. They don't think about what kind of foods can I use to heal myself, because I know that medication is going to work within minutes.
Right.
So why are we telling people that it's important to use foods rather than medication if the medication is solving the issue for them very easily?
So medication. So when you think about medication, I'm not a fan of anything that's not quote unquote real or made in a lab. And think about people that are constantly using antibiotics, people that are constantly using over-the-counter medication. Over years, it is destroying your digestive system. It's not something your digestive system knows what to do with. So it's kind of like putting a bomb in your internal system that goes, everything die, and it kills all the bugs, good and bad, which can continue to put you out of balance over time. And that's going to cause another longer term chronic issue. Whereas if you can take care of it with food, your body knows what to do with the food. Take care of eat the food. It's like, oh, cool. Oh, great. Thanks for the extra oregano, because this guy over here is getting out of control. I appreciate that. Thanks for not killing me too. So let me do my job, giving me the energy that I need to knock him out. And that works. And you continue to build that wonderful system internally that works for you. And so for me, it's just like, okay, so you're traveling, you're doing X, Y, and Z. You can't get to a salad, or you can't get to ginger, you can't get to something. Fine, go ahead and do that. But I would even tell somebody before that, and I know it has a ton of sugar, see if you can get some fresh squeezed orange juice with all the vitamin C, with all that, packed right in there, and then go to bed. So get some tea, get any kind of basic non-caffeinated tea and add lemon to it, add some ginger to it. What can you do even when you're traveling that's still a little more natural than Tylenol or Advil over the counter?
Most big cities and even medium-sized cities will have, some kind of Whole Foods or something like that. And then, even if they don't have a Whole Foods, there's juice bars and smoothie bars and, either farm to table or vegan restaurants where you can get a turmeric latte or something like that. I know I travel with turmeric specifically to make my own teas at night. There's so many ways to get things. I think we're just so trained to go for the Tylenol cold or the Advil cold because it's easy to get. It works fast, but it's not healing the body. It's not helping your immune system. It's not building it up to save it for next time. You're just masking what you need. And, sometimes that is the case. If you have a big meeting the next day, take your orange juice or your ginger tea and go right to bed and do the best that you can. And then in the morning, if you need it, by all means, if it's a matter of job or no job, you've got to do what you've got to do.
Do what you got to do, right? Exactly.
But train your body and train your mind to reach for that ginger and the lemon and the turmeric and all of those things instead of the Tylenol.
Totally. And I think that's it at the end of the day. Just begin to think about it differently. You said it, most places have a Whole Foods. Most places have some place where you can go get a fresh green juice. You can get, if you're getting tired, and normally fatigue shows up before you really get a cold. So if you just start going and you don't feel like making a salad or whatever, just start drinking some green juices without the sugar, without the ton of fruit, but just straight greens, and you'll build your energy back up. You'll reboot your system. And like you said, Whole Foods, you can go get a ginger shot in Whole Foods.
Yeah,
You know,
and the truth is that these days most coffee shops they have tea, right? And a lot of them now have ginger tea and turmeric tea and lemon tea. So
totally.
the availability is definitely there.
I don't see a need for that. I don't know. I think I stopped taking antibiotics in my 20s. I don't think I haven't taken an antibiotic since. Maybe I've taken one within the last 10 years for something that I thought I wouldn't be able to fix. But, at the time, I think I even did a Facebook post, it's believing in what you believe in to do what you need to do to get well. It's like, okay, I believe in all this, and I'm at that crossroads where it's taking longer because I had some really nasty thing going on to fix it, but I didn't give in, and ultimately it healed. So it works, and that was more of a not necessarily over the counter kind of just cold and flu thing, but I had to dig deep into my, bag of herbalist tricks and talk to my herbalist friends and really believe that what I do works, because it does. And one of the things that sometimes I think people, when they talk about, oh, herbs don't work or this or that, it's not that they don't work. In all honesty, it's about having the right combination. And what I also find is interesting is that people will give doctors and medicine a chance to not work and go, oh, he's got to recalibrate my medication. He's got to fix this. He's got to do that. But when it comes to herbs, they don't give it that chance. It's a one-shot deal, and it's got to work right away or it's not going to work. And what I tell people is it's the same thing. You go to a doctor who's practicing medicine, you go to an herbalist, herbs do work. If it's not working, you just don't have the right combination.
And you've got to give it time. You've got to be patient with it. It's not a cortisone shot where you leave the office feeling better already. And this is something that I talk about all the time. If it took you 10 years to gain your 100 pounds, you're not going to lose your 100 pounds in 10 days, right? So the same thing with healing. We need to be patient.
Yes, totally. And it works. I mean, you got to give yourself time to heal sometimes. Yeah, but I'm telling you, that elderberry syrup or the immune boosting broth, they work. If you make your own veggie broth and put some seaweed in it, you'll be good to go. I mean, that's something I keep when it comes to winter season. I keep the immune boosting broth. I keep elderberry syrup ready to go. And there's always garlic, ginger, and garlic and ginger in the house.
Do you freeze that soup?
Yes, I do. When I make it, I freeze it. I put it in quarts and freeze it.
And so in your magical bag of herbs that you just mentioned, your special bag, what would you have in there as the important herbs or spices that people should always have on hand?
Okay, so when I think about dried herbs, I like astragalus. I use that often for immune boosting. You can do it. I think oregano is another one, but there's some that I like fresh. Like I prefer oregano fresh. I prefer thyme fresh, basil fresh. My greens I like fresh. Elderberry would be one that I would have dried. Astragalus would be one that I would have dried. I like yellow dock because it's yellow dock and dandelion. I can do dandelion either dried or as a fresh herb. It's a diuretic. It can just kind of continue to, as whatever's going on, it will definitely kind of take it out of your body too and reduce some of the inflammation. There's some herbs that yellow dock is a great detox herb. What else do I like that I would have?
I want to come back to oregano because you mentioned the dry oregano, and I know that people use the oregano oil to battle their colds and flu, and that's, if anyone's ever tasted that oregano oil, it's pretty powerful stuff.
It's hard.
Yeah.
It's harsh. It can be very harsh.
And so would you say that that's a good thing to use for colds and flu, or would you still rather go with the fresh?
It depends on where you are. So if I'm just starting, I'm going to make that salad and eat it. If I'm, like in day 2 or 3 and I can't shake it, I'm going to give it a shot of oregano oil. I think that would. Now, what I do is I take, depending on if I feel like I can handle it, I'll take it out of the cap, like put a hole in the capsule and just pinch the capsule down my throat and just suck it down that way. Because normally for me, I think the other thing is being aware of where you really get sick. Right? I know for me, it's like a sore throat. The first signs of some kind of sore throat. So if I haven't knocked it out, I'll take that oregano oil and again, pinch a hole in the capsule and squeeze it down my throat and swallow it and follow it with some water. And I'm normally pretty good. It just lights you up.
Gotta chase it. Yeah, gotta chase it with some water for sure.
That's powerful. What are your thoughts on echinacea?
Echinacea is a great herb and a great plant. I think sometimes people may overuse it. I like other ones. I think in terms of keeping myself healthy, it would be elderberry. Echinacea and golden seal are not herbs that you can use kind of continuously all the time. And elderberry you can take all the time. Astragalus you can take regularly. Echinacea is also a good one, but those are the ones that I like.
I only bring that one up because my mom used to like to give that one to us when we were getting sick, and I don't know why she liked that one, but that was her choice.
Yeah. I mean, it's not a bad one at all. I just think there are other ones that, when you talk about an overall keeping your system healthy, I just think there are some that work better, and you can use them more regularly. I think echinacea is that thing you come out when you're really sick.
And going back to the greens, like you're talking about the arugula and, did you say arugula? Yeah, the arugula and the oregano and, all basil and all of these other things. These are things that we could be buying on a regular basis and throwing into our salads on a regular basis, keeping it in the fridge, not wanting it to go bad, and just keeping up your immune system that way so that we're not always fighting those colds, but we're kind of putting down the garage door and not letting them through.
Oh, totally. That's my normal salad. Some variation of that is my normal salad with the base of some other kind of greens, and it works. Like I said, I haven't been sick. I don't expect to get sick, and I haven't taken antibiotics for a very, very, very long time.
What else do you suggest keeping on hand for other natural ways of treating other things that might happen in the house? For example, cuts or scrapes, bruises, burns, those kinds of things.
I like calendula for burns. You can put a little calendula oil on it. If for a burn, also, I've been treating things with a little lavender oil just to calm it down, like a lavender calendula. And the charcoal kind of, if you have to draw something out, like making a little charcoal poultice is always great.
I would think it's awesome to have an aloe plant in the house because you could just peel a leaf off and use the aloe gel.
You are correct. I love aloe.
So it's funny because I rewatched Dr. Michael Greger's little video on aloe, and it was showing that aloe actually does not do any better than any of the other topical gels or creams that you could buy in the drugstore. However, by using aloe instead of using those, you're not bringing those extra toxins into your body, into your home. It probably costs a lot less to just buy an aloe plant and not water it for a couple of years and have it still grow than it is to, run to the drugstore all the time. But we've always been told, aloe does the trick. Aloe does it better than anything else. But according to the videos and according to the research, it actually didn't make any difference compared to the other things. So I found that interesting. However, it would still be my choice.
Yeah, I think a lot of things sometimes, it's like, in other words, like we're just talking about all the herbs and things you can take or do Advil, cold and sinus and flu. And granted, you continually do that, it's going to upset your system eventually, but it's the same concept. You're not putting the added toxins that will harm you, but they both work.
Well, I could tell you that the burn on my back that I had after Ironman Texas in 2014, and we got home and we bought this little aloe plant for, I don't know, $2.99.
Something like that.
And it definitely helped the burn. And that little plant is still living upstairs.
Barely. I don't remember the last time I watered that poor thing.
But that's the thing. It's such an easy plant to take care of, and it gives you back so much.
Yeah, totally. And it works. Yeah. I mean, it just really works. It's not like you have to really, it's a no-brainer.
So what are the best places to shop for these ingredients? Because I know you can go online and you could buy all kinds of essential oils, or you can go to your regular grocery store. How important do you find it is to know the source of where you're buying these ingredients from?
It's very important. And I think, I like to go to Mountain Rose Herbs, and that's online. You can use them. I love them. Whole Foods will have products, but you can't get you can get food there, organic food. So for me, it's important to know your sources. It's important if you're going to do the leafy greens and those kind of things for them to be organic, not sprayed with pesticides. Farmers markets are also really great. I know you guys are going into winter, so your farmers markets may be shut down now, but the grocery store.
Apples and potatoes.
Okay.
Through the winter, yeah, squash,
Okay.
yeah.
So you've got some things. Yeah, so it's really important. I tell everyone, know the source of your food. Know where your food's coming from because you're going to put it in your body. You want to put the cleanest food you can in there. And again, that's the cleanest food you can. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing going on, just as best you can. But in terms of the herbs, because herbs it's a whole nother concept, and mountain rose herbs is great. There's another one called Frontier Co-op herbs. And both of those have online places where you can order things. And they're organic and they're great sources.
If somebody listening wanted to, get into some herbs and start to take something to help them prevent colds and flus, would your number one be the elderberry or the astragalus or something else?
I'd say elderberry. Elderberry is easily accessible. Going to make your elderberry syrup is really, really easy. I'd say start there. With a little ginger and elderberry syrup would be perfect. That immune boosting broth would be another one too.
We're going to go shopping for some elderberries, keep them in the house, and never have to use them all winter, but I'm happy with that. Let's plan and let's be ahead of the game, and then, be happily surprised that nobody gets sick, because we don't.
We don't. And hopefully our listeners won't either. And if they do and they want to ask you some more questions, Julie, where would be the best place for them to go to connect with you?
Okay, so my website's Fresh Food Alchemy, ALCHEMY. And on the podcast, I have a special podcast page. So it's Fresh Food Alchemy /podcast. And on that page, they can actually download. There's a nutrient-dense veggie list, and it's free. They can download that, and it gives them also a list of real nutrient-dense vegetables, which are also really great for cold and flu season and keeping their body and their immune system in order. They can click on, there's a place for them to click on. It says, kind of work with me. And there's a couple questions I have, and you can do a free consultation. So a 30-minute free consultation from there is really great. And I also have what's called a 5-day plant-based challenge. So it's 5 dinner meals. So you can eat whatever you want, breakfast and lunch, and then just do dinner in the evening. And it comes with grocery lists, recipes, and kind of a meal plan of what day you're going to do which dinner. And normally that's $97, but for your podcast listeners, it's $47. So they can go there. And again, there's a free 30-minute consultation. I'd love to talk to anybody that has any questions about how to keep their system healthy, how to switch to a plant-based diet, even if they have any digestive questions, because that's also another area that I really love so much, is because I believe if your digestive system is healthy, the rest of you is healthy.
Love it. And thank you so much for sharing that with our listeners. And, people might be listening and saying, why would they have another health coach on their podcast promoting themselves? But the truth is that everybody's different, and they may feel a different connection to you than they do to us. And we're trying to help as many people as we can. And that's why we bring on people to this show that we hope can help people in one way or another. So thank you so much for sharing all that you're doing with your clients and with anyone else out there. And we really appreciate having you on the show.
It's been great. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed talking to you guys.
Thank you so much for listening to this edition of the Plant Trainers Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, or any other podcast listening platforms. We appreciate the feedback we receive from you. Every time we get a 5-star rating or review on iTunes from one of our fans, it ensures other people will find us too. Thanks to our patrons. To become a patron, visit www.patreon.com/planttrainers. Even supporting us with $1 really makes a difference. Connect and follow us on Instagram and Twitter @PlantTrainers. Like Plant Trainers on Facebook, join our newsletter, and check out our website at www.planttrainers.com for awesome plant-based recipes and a list of our services. Email your questions to info@planttrainers.com so we can answer them on our upcoming Facebook Lives. We hope we've inspired you today. Join us again next time, and have a healthy day.